Hey everyone, Ron here. Today I'm reviewing the Chuwi Corebook X 7430U. This is a 14-inch laptop with the AMD Ryzen 5 7430U processor, a 6-core processor. This review unit that I received from Chuwi comes with 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of internal storage. At the time of review, the price of this laptop is $399, which may or may not include free shipping depending on your location. And if you guys happen to have the intention to buy this laptop after watching my review, there is a 13% coupon code in the video description below, so you can actually get this laptop at $350. At the discounted price, or even at this price, this laptop provides reasonable value because this laptop is actually quite good. I have actually reviewed the Intel version of this laptop several months ago, the laptop that comes with the Intel i5 12450H processor. This AMD version is better than the Intel version in several ways. The Intel version uses a barrel port for charging, but the AMD version uses the USB-C port. And there are two. Both can be used for charging the laptop. The Intel version only has around 4 hours of battery life. The AMD version has around 5 to 6 hours of battery life. And the reason for that is because the AMD processor uses less power than Intel, even though the processor is almost as powerful as Intel. And because this does not generate as much heat, the fan does not rev up that often. So this laptop has no fan noise with normal usage, but the Intel version actually has the fan spinning sometimes with normal usage, and the fans can be heard. So this Corebook X with AMD is noticeably better compared to Intel, and that's AMD versus Intel. And now let me give you the bottom line up front. This is a well-made laptop. Oops, you need 2 hands to open the laptop, and this is how fast the laptop boots up from sleep. Chuwi actually sells some laptops that are even cheaper than this, the ones with the Intel N150, but this AMD version of the Corebook X is actually quite powerful and can handle heavy workload without any lag. So the overall performance of this laptop is responsive, smooth, and lag-free. The resolution of this 14-inch LCD is 2160 by 1440 and refresh rate is 60 Hz. Now this display is bright, vibrant, and sharp, and the one downside is it's too reflective, and this is not a touch screen. Port selection is quite good. There's USB-C, A, HDMI, micro SD card slot. Audio quality from the downward facing speakers sound okay, usable. There's a plate on the back where you can remove it easily to install another stick of RAM. Keyboard typing experience is good, and there is backlight. The touchpad is big, but it's a bit too stiff for my personal preference. This is not considered a gaming laptop because there is no dedicated graphics card, but I guess it can be used for some light gaming. However, you may have to reduce the resolution of the game down to 720p or even lower to get acceptable or satisfactory frame rates. Battery life is 5 to 6 hours, which is considered short when you compare this with other more expensive laptops from other companies, but it's long when compared to other Chuwi laptops and Windows tablets because those usually have around 4 hours. One main downside of this laptop is it is quite difficult to get a good download speed with the Realtek wireless adapter inside this laptop unless you are near the Wi-Fi source. So for me, when I'm working at home, I need to connect the laptop to an external wireless adapter. And when I do that, the download speed is a few times faster. So those are the main pros and cons. Alright, on to the full review. Let's take a look at the items included with the purchase. This is the packaging box without much design to save money on design. Inside the box you get the laptop and these two items, the power cable. The plug you may be able to choose. Inside the box you get the laptop and these two items. This is the power cable, and you may be able to choose the plug on the ordering page. And this is the power adapter with USB-C connector. And this is a 65-watt charger. You can use your own GAN charger with the laptop since the laptop supports USB-C charging. Let's take a closer look at the design of this laptop. So the design is clean and simple, and this is the cover, which is made of metal, and this is matte textured. very susceptible to fingerprints. There's the Chuwi logo that protrudes out from the top. Can you hear that? The weight of this laptop is 1.4 kg, which is quite reasonable for a 14-inch laptop. And this is the back, and this is also made with metal. Now the build quality is quite solid with the metal body. There are 5 rubber feet on the back. I did not remove the back plate, so I cannot tell you how easy it is to replace the NVMe SSD inside. Anyway, this laptop comes with 512 gigs of internal storage, and there are no other storage options available. This is the removable plate, so if you want to install another stick of RAM, you can do so easily yourself. The back is also quite susceptible to fingerprints, and these are not easy to wipe off, by the way. The downward-facing speakers sound so-so. They are not bad, but they are also not good, but at least they are loud enough. Corners are rounded off and the edges are not sharp. The ports on this side are USB-C with USB 2 transfer speed. This can be used for charging. That's the charging light indicator. This is a USB 3 Type A port. This HDMI port is listed as version 1.4, but it's actually not 1.4, it's either 2.0 or 2.1. And this is another USB-C port. This one has USB 3 transfer speed, can be used for charging and can output video. Chuwi has listed HDMI version 1.4, which is probably a mistake because HDMI 1.4 cannot output 4K UHD resolution at 60 Hz. And here I have a 4K UHD display, and this looks like 60 Hz to me. And this is listed as 4K UHD 60 Hz. This is a 14.1-inch LCD. There is a camera here, which does not support face unlock and auto brightness. Resolution of this 14.1-inch LCD is 2160 by 1440 and the refresh rate is 60 Hz. The aspect ratio of this display is 3:2, and that's good for productivity because given the fixed width of the display, you actually get more vertical space to show content. However, when you are watching videos on YouTube, 16:9 videos, there will be noticeable black bars at the top and bottom, which to me is not really an issue. Colors for this LCD look good out of the box, and with a color calibrator, I measure color support for 99% sRGB, 68% NTSC, 74% ODB RGB, and 74% P3, and the maximum brightness is 350 nits. So this is essentially a 100% or 99% sRGB display, so the colors are good. Maximum brightness of 350 nits is actually high enough for a bright room environment. This display is more than sufficiently bright for this bright room that I'm in right now, and usually I don't even have the display running at maximum brightness. Now, one thing I don't like about this display is it is just too glossy and reflective. Let me increase the brightness to 100% again. So it's difficult to see anything through the reflections, even with the display at 100% brightness. I guess with a glossy display, the colors do look more vibrant, but can you see my face there? Yeah, so sometimes when I'm watching videos, I can see my face very clearly through the reflection. Anyway, as long as you do not have any light source behind you creating reflections on the display, the visual quality, as you can see, is pretty good. Let's talk about the keyboard, which is full size, and the typing experience is quite good. The keys have good travel and feedback. The function keys are by default F1 to F12, so if you want to use the shortcuts, you will have to press and hold F2 when the system boots up to get into the BIOS to switch the function keys from the F1 to F12 to shortcuts. This keyboard has backlight and the light can shine through the letters. The layout for the keyboard is quite normal. The power button is here, there's no fingerprint scanner. Now, one thing you have to take note here is the shift key is not full width. On many occasions when I try to hit the shift key, I would actually hit the up arrow and I have to undo what I'm trying to do. So yeah, this will take some time to get used to. The touchpad is quite big and I'm not sure if you can see, but this is also quite susceptible to fingerprint smudges. This is matte textured just like the wrist rest area. There are left and right click areas and you can also press down in the middle, and you can also use 2-finger tap to get the right click. This area here at the top cannot be pressed down. The click is quite firm, a bit too firm for my personal preference, but anyway it works. Now when you try to click and drag something, you can use this method, click and then use the other finger to drag. But if you click like this and drag, can you hear the touchpad? Yeah, this is actually not easy, so it's best to just click and use the other finger to drag. I just find the clicks to be too stiff, so I definitely prefer using a mouse instead. And now let's talk about the performance of this laptop. So this laptop comes with 16 gigs of RAM and the AMD Ryzen 5 7430U processor, which is a 6-core processor. Now I have reviewed the Intel version of this laptop several months ago, the one with the Intel i5 12450H processor with 8 cores. This processor is as powerful as that Intel processor, but the one thing I really like is it doesn't use as much power, but the processor is still as powerful as the Intel. So this processor does not generate much heat, so the fans does not rev that often. So with normal usage, the fans almost never turn, or the fans will not be audible, which is great because you can have silent operation. But with the Intel version, for some reason, even with normal workload, like for example, you're browsing the web, the fans would spin for whatever reason. Okay, let me open an app, Affinity Photo, to show you how fast apps can launch. I've just restarted the laptop, by the way, and the boot up from sleep or from power off is quite fast. Apps are able to launch quite quickly, and I certainly have no issues with workflow. Yeah, so this app is able to launch quite quickly. Let me show you another app. This is Affinity Designer. And yeah, so workflow is definitely quite smooth. You can use this for graphic design work. Let me zoom in and out. Yeah, this is very smooth and fluid. I actually want to use my finger, but this is not a touch screen. Okay, let me launch as many apps as possible. Let me launch MediaBank Paint, Copilot, Microsoft Store. Let me show you the bloatware that is on the laptop. Yeah, I don't see any bloatware except for LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is under Microsoft, so it's technically speaking not considered bloatware. Yeah, so this laptop actually has no bloatware. This laptop can handle multitasking without any issues and heavy workflows smoothly. Now, Chuwi also sells other laptops that are around this price point, but many of those actually come with the Intel N150, which is alright, but if you can stretch your budget slightly, this Corebook X with the AMD processor is just noticeably more powerful compared to those laptops, and because it's more powerful, you can expect better longevity with this laptop. Okay, so I want to talk about one thing that actually affects user experience or performance. This is the internet speed measuring website, fast.com. So let me just reload this website to show you how fast the Wi-Fi speed is. I am in a room and I do not have direct line of sight with my router that's outside. So this is the speed that I get with this laptop. This is not considered that fast, but it's still usable. Now with my other devices in the same room, I can get around 400, 500 or even 600 megabits per second. This Chuwi laptop uses the Realtek wireless adapter, and if you do a search online for this adapter, you can see other people complaining about slow download speeds as well. I tried to tweak the settings to get better connection, to get better Wi-Fi, but I just can't get the download speed to improve. So I went for a hardware solution. I bought this Ugreen wireless adapter for $20 US. So now let's go to the website again to test. So earlier it was 97 and now this is 3 times faster. If I move this closer, like 1 meter or 2 meters closer to my door, which is nearer to the router, which is quite far away, this can go up to about 500 megabits per second. So this is definitely much faster compared to the Realtek wireless adapter that's inside. Anyway, if your laptop is near your Wi-Fi source, then the download speed is probably not going to be an issue. But if your Wi-Fi source is not that strong or you're far away from your Wi-Fi source, then you may have to go with this solution. This is a good laptop, but this is not a good wireless adapter. I guess this laptop can be used for some light gaming, but this is not considered a gaming laptop. So this game that I'm playing right now is Hades 2, and the game was able to load pretty quickly. And the resolution is 1680 by 1050. So the frame rate right now is at 55 to 60 FPS. So it's playable, but if you want like smoother frame rates, you will have to drop the resolution down to something closer to 720p resolution. Yeah, because right now even at close to 60 FPS, I find that the animation is not as smooth as it can be. And now there are only 2 enemies here, but if there are many enemies, the frame rates can drop quite quickly. So I wouldn't consider this to be a good laptop for gaming. Okay, I just dropped the resolution down to 720p and this seems smoother to me. And note that when gaming, the fans will definitely rev and you will be able to hear fan noise, which is not that loud compared to a gaming laptop, but it's, well, loud. And also another thing that affects gaming experience is, can you see my face? Can you see my reflected face on the glossy display? Yeah, that affects user experience. This will apply when you're watching videos as well. Actually, as long as you're looking at the display, you will see your reflection. So after I quit the game, the fan noise is now gone after a few seconds, which is quite quick. I had the power cable connected earlier and it charged up a few percent. Let me show you the battery life. For 100% battery life, you can get around 6 hours, 5 to 6 hours of battery life with this laptop, based on calculations and also based on my user experience for the past 2 weeks. The battery life is actually considered decent for a laptop at this price point. Right, to conclude, this is one of the better laptops from Chuwi and the pricing, in my opinion, is quite reasonable. Display quality is good, except it's too reflective for my personal preference. Build quality is good, design looks good, port selection is good, keyboard is good, touchpad is so-so, audio quality is so-so, Wi-Fi download speed is so-so. For the downsides, I don't think they are deal breakers, but maybe the Wi-Fi download speed is a potential deal breaker depending on where you get your Wi-Fi and where your Wi-Fi source is. I'm not sure if it's worth the hassle to replace the Wi-Fi card inside or if it can be replaced at all. Anyway, this is the workaround, wired Wi-Fi adapter that works better compared to the one that's inside. Alright, I hope this review is useful. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video. Bye.